Apparently, though, you guys know this. You guys know this. As the Democratic machine, you guys know I love being told how I feel. I also enjoy being told what my plan is. I also, what is the other one? I like being told by the right what I've been trying to do this whole time. That would be the thing. Okay. All this, that kind of shit. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So, in this particular instance, apparently, you, me, everybody in my chat room, everybody, these two folks over who are on Fox News, excuse you, say we're terrified of actual democracy, according to Charlie Hurt. I guess that's Charlie Hurt. Hello, angels. So, yeah. So, yes, YouTube has demonetized Russell Brand, and it looks like Rumble might as well. We'll see. Although only in the UK or some shit, or UK advertisers, because they have stricter rules. They can actually tell people not to show somebody until they're cleared of something. Hey, you don't want to live like that. Fucking end your monarchy. We did that. I mean, it was a lot of hard work, obviously, well before I was born, but still. Okay, here we go. Now let's go. He looks a bit like RFK Jr. That's true. Okay, so let's hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear why we're terrified of actual democracy. And also, according to Dinesh D'Souza, the mess himself, we'll get to him in a minute. Apparently, no one can comfortably say, where did I put this? Where are you? Crazy thing. It's the video's in here somewhere. No one can comfortably say that they are not going to be rated by there it is. Not going to be rated by, he looks like Mr. Bean's stunt double. According to him, nobody can comfortably say, I will not be rated by the FBI. I can comfortably say that. I think most of you, nobody with a hidden cache of images of nude children probably can say that. Maybe is that what you're telling us about your hard drive space? You haven't checked the hard drives that Rudy's given you that are just laying around for what they might have on them in terms of not just, attacks on Hunter Biden, but compromise on you. You do realize, maybe not. Or maybe this is just fucking covered. I gotta say, there's a bunch of these assholes saying stuff like this, and it sounds like they're trying to protect themselves. But we'll get to them in a minute. I want to know why the left hates democracy. Let's find out.
So long as they...
Oh, it is. It's Ingraham. Dems need existential threat as a justification. Well, thank God we have MAGA. Isn't that nice? Thank you, MAGA, for being our existential threat. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't get half of this shit done.
Stay in power.
Well, I mean, except infrastructure and the rescue package and that, the vaccines and all that kind of stuff. Getting out of Afghanistan, obviously we didn't need you for that. It's like whatever, but everything else, thanks a lot.
Joining me now, Molly Hemingway, editor-in-chief of The Federalist, and Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor. Both are Fox News contributors.
Does he edit opinions, or is he an editor for the opinion page? And how do you edit other people's opinions? It's a question for another time.
Molly, there's a lot of news to get through, but they really are ramping up this rhetoric. I mean, we actually have good data points on what's going to happen to energy and our personal freedoms if Biden gets 4 more years because of what he said.
Good data points? You have good data? You got good statistics on what it's going to be? Because he's increased the number of leases, 9-fold from the ones they're actually using? If they use 10% of them, oil will be in the shitter. All my money in Exxon won't be worth a goddamn. Boo fuckity hoo.
Thing. But they are saying democracy itself will end.
Yeah, there's...
Yeah, that's Democrats. That's why we chose the name Democrats. It's because it's a very sneaky way of say it's kind of like Mark Foley being on the Missing and Exploited Children Committee.
Saying democracy itself will end unless they are able to prevent Americans from voting for the candidate of their choice, which is a democratic principle.
All right, I adorable gag, I suppose, but you're talking out of your ass, so you have to articulate a little.
But they are willing to do anything, and the Atlantic is willing to do anything. During the first
The Atlanta, yes, that's what it is. It's Democratic activists who, obviously we're responsible for bringing over the giant pallets of ballots that are made of, panda jizz and all that kind of stuff. But we've got to have some kind of backup. Obviously, the Atlantic. That's basically what it is. It's like me, Shamos, and the Atlantic, and democracy is fucked.
Trump presidency. They lied about Russia collusion. They
No, they didn't.
participated in the Kavanaugh rape smear. They felt
No. They as a matter of fact, the depth of the Kavanaugh issue was, you could argue that they played up that story in an effort to not go into his finances.
that these things were justified because of their hatred for Republican voters and the candidates they vote.
Or the planned attack on women's rights that they saw coming and they weren't wrong. You do realize they did end Dobbs and Roe v. Wade. And so everybody who was like, these motherfuckers are precisely the people who are going to destroy women's rights. Oh, yep, there it is. There it is.
Charlie, if democracy is truly on the line, again, as these people all suck up to China and they suck up to all these other despotic regimes.
What? You mean Trump?
But if democracy is really on the line.
All right, again, what does okay, a hostage exchange for $6 billion, which is probably what she's referencing. And then her imaginary idea that we're just, I don't know what she thinks we're doing with China other than extracting our companies without totally having them destroyed in the middle of the release of the iPhone 14 or whatever,
Gosh,
15.
you pretty much have to do anything to save democracy.
What do you got to do? I have to do. And the worst thing about it is that when we have to, what are Republicans? If democracy is destroyed, what will Republicans attack?
It sounds almost like egging people on to conflict.
All right, this is just fucking gibberish. It sounds almost like trying to gin up some sort of faux conflict for an opening segment on a show that's, since it avoids real news, is having a slow night.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important point, Laura, that
Totally.
has to be made here.
Excellent.
That
Excellent.
is exactly why they're using this very extreme language, because we are now at the point.
Who's
as
they,
Molly points
motherfucker?
out,
All right, I'm aggravated. Show the article you're referencing in the clip you post. I didn't cut this. I did not cut this fucking clip out. They did. This is their post. Anybody who stumbled across this fucking post, and this is on Fox News' actual channel, is going to go, what are they talking about? What article were they reading? Who's the they? Which they? I guess it's just the they. Just fall into the they. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe the idea is just talk about the abstract they, even though you're talking about a specific they. Turn the specific they into an abstract they, because who are they? Only they know who is them.
They are so terrified of actual democracy that they're willing to put somebody in jail or take him off the ballot so that people cannot vote for the person that they want to vote for.
Well, I got to say, there was a group of people who didn't want Donald Trump to be on the ballot. And so they set a system in place to make sure that he wouldn't be, at least this time. Not the first time, obviously, but this time. And that would be the founding fucking fathers. Because they put that rule in because they knew full well that just because you got a democracy doesn't mean you're going to maintain it automatically. And there might be a giant civil war type of situation again. And we're going to need protection against that. They might try to undermine us. They might slice us right down the fucking middle. So whoever they're running, if they engage in a rebellion or an insurrection or giving aid and comfort to the enemy, they can't fucking run. Find somebody else. Here's the thing is that Republicans, I genuinely don't understand. If MAGA is through and through the Republican Party, and it is the essence of the Republican Party, then why the fuck do they need Trump for this? Can't somebody just walk up and go, I've read Art of the Deal, I got it, I can handle it. I mean, did you see what he did? I won't even golf, fuck it. I don't even know how to golf. I'll just yell at people the same way. Okay, cool.
And the only way you can justify doing that is if you call it some massive emergency that is an existential threat to the country and an existential threat to democracy as we know it, which is why, and of course, they have to talk about that because they can't talk about it.
they have to talk about that because they're describing January 6th, and anything less than describing it that way would be, I guess, journalistic malpractice.
The issues, because on the issues, you cannot point to a single issue on which Democrats have the upper hand over.
Oh, well, I can. Can I? Oh, can I try? Can I please? All right, just one. How about unemployment? How about we're not in Afghanistan anymore? How about infrastructure? We're going to build. How about lead pipes out of the ground? How about that? How about that Obama signed the Veterans Choice Act, not Trump, and Obama didn't even tout it that much. They just went, this will be better for veterans. It's a good thing. And then Trump was like, I made it up. Nobody could do it. Blah, 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 blah. How about the section of wall around the gate that the Biden administration made in the wall is better construction than the wall itself? How about that? How about the Biden administration has no plans whatsoever to cede American territory, private land, to Mexico. Here, we want to build a wall here, and then the ground's a little lopsided. So we're going to build it higher up here. So all that land that used to be his, that's now Mexico. How about that? I'll point to that one. How about the narrowing of the gap, the racial gap in unemployment? That while it's been going down for a while, it parallel. During the Trump administration, it rose and fell in parallel. The gap between it has been narrowing during the Biden administration. And I think that's actually a sign that you're getting a more just and equal representation of people in the workforce. How about that? I like that. Okay, what else? What else do we do with that? He just started a climate corps for kids to study green tech and future tech and all that kind of stuff. And that seems pretty cool. I'm for that. Yeah. I mean, that's just for starters. Yeah, the unemployment rate has been below 4% for the longest stretch of 50 years. I think that works. I'll point to that. How about that?
For conservatives or Republican.
Now, and Molly, speaking of this idea of egging people into conflict, Zelensky
egging people into conflict? Zelensky thinks there's like a war on.
Today comes to the UN, right? A whole entourage with him. And it seemed like he was trying to bait people into, more action.
Bait people into more action. Really? Did you feel triggered to like Sieg Heil?
And he took a step
again.
Further. Watch.
If Ukraine falls, Putin will surely go further. What will the United States of America do when Putin reaches the Baltic states, when he reaches the Polish border? He will. Right. If the Russians reach Poland, what's next? A third world war?
Molly.
Just for the record, that's exactly what Putin, Solovyev, the entire media establishment, the state media in Russia, the military leaders have all either spoken directly of, joked about, or both.
Well, this is a really big issue for us right now. A lot of American voters, they do not believe that there should be endless spending on the war in Ukraine.
Right, I agree. I think we should spend more so that we can end it fucking quickly. Get those motherfuckers out. How about that? I don't know about you, but I don't believe in endless spending on anything. Straw man.
Particularly as Ukraine's own neighbors in Europe are not spending nearly as much as we are, not just a tiny fraction of what we are.
Yeah, that's because you're going by the nation states themselves instead of the EU as a whole. But secondarily, we have that stuff. And also Lend-Lease. Also, those resources will be paid back. We're the biggest bank in the country. Will give out the biggest loans. That's how shit works. It always has.
On this war. Americans want war.
Look at this. Look at the title list. Zelensky recklessly warns of World War III. Recklessly. How do you have a reckless warning? I'm fascinated by the combination of those words. This person is recklessly cautioning people about, going nude down a slide made entirely of razor blades and fish hooks. It's reckless the way he's warning people and cautioning them not to do that.
Wars fought in our national interest. They want things brought to peaceful ends. They want to deal with the reality of the situation, and the reality includes.
Ooh.
that we have a tremendous amount of debt in our country, and we have a lot of things that we need to care about that we should be focused on as well. So it is interesting to.
You mean like infrastructure and well, hey, I will say we're not paying for Afghanistan anymore. That's a good thing. I mean, we're arguably paying less right now in the Ukraine war than we were in Afghanistan, because Afghanistan, what was it, $85 billion worth of gear, just poof, right? It's gone.
It'll be interesting to see how Zelensky's visit goes this time around versus the previous.
Yeah, that was on 60 Minutes, obviously. Then, Charlie, you hear.
Yeah, I mean, you made it out like he was yelling, haranguing people in the fucking well of the UN. But
Biden and the Biden cabinet, when they talk about Ukraine, I've never seen them more passionate about anything except maybe climate change. Yeah. They're so passionate about Ukraine. I mean,
yeah, it's almost like they gave a shit about rape squads and shallow graves and Russian military adventurism, and the fact that when Joe Biden was vice president under Obama, he criticized the administration above him and the military leaders for not going harder against Russia at the time, and he didn't want to repeat the same fucking mistake. And also Georgia, and also Chechnya, and also now it seems like they're ceding the territory to Azerbaijan that used to belong to Armenia just because fuck it.
It will pretty much do.
It's almost like it's almost like they recognize the categorical threat that Russia is to that entire fucking part of the world.
Do anything for Zelensky, much more than they would ever do to engage with conservative Republicans on the Hill.
They're literally in committees every fucking day marking up bills. Every day. People in the Biden administration and people on his staff talk to House leaders and Senate leaders and Senate minority leaders and committee leaders and all that stuff daily. Shut the fuck up. This is one of the lamest, laziest, dumbest narratives that because you don't see the perfunctory work of Washington that goes on all the fucking time, that it doesn't fucking happen. It's like saying the only time you see the CEO of a paper company is when he's golfing or talking to the press. That's the only time you ever see him. Because the rest of the time he's in his office dealing with fucking buying pulp and the processing and his employees and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, it's like they don't even do paper anymore. Meanwhile, trucks of paper are just rolling out of this fucking place every goddamn day. Ugh, this is so stupid. Here's a good idea, stupid. Just air C-SPAN instead of this bullshit.
And I think that strikes people as
odd. It's almost like Laura Ingraham, might be completely full of shit. I might be. People, when I say that, they turn their heads like a dog hearing a kazoo for the first time. And I don't get it.
Odd, when obviously he's happy to have our own border totally overrun.
He is? Why did they fill that gap with that wall? Why do they increase the budget for Customs and Border Patrol? Why are the numbers of fentanyl and people crossing? Why are the seized numbers going up? Why were there no terrorists seized coming across the border in 2019, which is fucking impossible under Trump? And what is he just letting them fly straight into LaGuardia? I guess that's an answer.
With what, 7.5 million people?
Exactly.
And counting?
Yeah, and
wait a minute, 7.5 million people as far as the encounters over the last 3 years? Is that what you're going with? I don't know where she's getting the number from. So I thought we had 11 million running around. That's been the static number. I guess it's if you count people who, like, actuarial tables will point to a certain die-off factor. Is that why we've stasis out at 11 million all this time?
And of course, sadly, there are also some Republicans in that camp as well.
Oh, so sad when the Republicans are in that camp. It's so sad. I can't do it. It's all these rhinos. The rhinos, they don't like the wall. They like to be able to charge through. They like getting the horn.
Who get very, very spun up at the notion of spending more taxpayer dollars in Ukraine. But of course, this is the Biden administration's war. The entire war occurred because of Joe Biden's reckless disregard for American energy independence, which...
What? All right, this is a new one. This is great. I guess now that Russell Brand's out of the way, everybody's like, wait. Now there might be room for my stupid idea of how all of this started. I thought it was NATO expansion, motherfucker. So, because he killed a Canadian pipeline, That's the idea?
Jacked the price of fuel up and gave Vladimir Putin the money to invade a country that he never should have invaded.
Okay, the reason the price of fuel went up after it had fucking cadavered to below zero, you fucking whinging turd, is because no one was going anywhere, doing anything. Ships were sitting still. Trucks weren't going anywhere. The only vehicles that were moving were like food delivery cars. This like fucking people just dropping food on doorsteps from restaurants. That was it. The amount of fuel on the planet took a fucking header. And then the price went up when we all came back to work at the same time. We all rushed out and tried to do shit again. And the processing plants and those little factories that turn oil into gas, those kind of refineries, right, hadn't staffed up any more than any other business at that point. So you had a limited resource and a huge demand. Gee, it's almost like economics 101.
But so obviously Democrats are the number one cheerleaders for this. And as you,
I don't even know what the fuck this dude is talking about. Charlie Hurt, congratulations. You have won the we need an award like the Bongholio. Can we give the I think we give the Bongholio award goes to Charlie Hurt from Fox News, who's their editor, cuz this is fucking moronic. This is I'm almost amazed. Shit. Like this is I don't want to shit on Fox, but this is like RSBN territory.
you point out, they really show their hand. You know, Joe Biden was in New York City today and refused to even meet with Democratic Mayor Eric Adams, who is struggling under the catastrophe.
Refused to meet with him. He's speaking to the fucking UN. They had meetings at the UN, and then he has to get back to Washington. Refused to meet with the fucking mayor. I'll do anything. I'm gonna set up another meeting. I'd rather meet with the Iranians than Eric Adams. Get the fuck out of here. Refused to meet with him. He didn't have time.
Of illegal immigration.
Also, he's a mayor. All due respect. Yes, Manhattan's a great place. Cool. Do your shit. But that guy can meet with his fucking governor.
Caused entirely by Joe Biden and his refusal to, or his willingness to throw open the gates at the border to.
No. Greg Abbott, in a state that gets the lion's share of immigration funds to deal with migrants coming across the border, decided to use some of those funds or divert some of those funds to dropping a bunch of people off randomly in big cities with no plan, no strategy, and no awareness and no coordination. Just dumping human beings onto the street. Which, by the way, isn't surprising because states like that have been doing that with their homeless in California for years. Skid Row, for years, they would find people in fucking hospital gowns with wrist markers from like Nevada and New Mexico fucking hospitals. Because they just put them in a fucking bus and dropped them there in the middle of the night.
To invite in millions of new illegals.
Well, and Molly, I think Charlie's point.
Yeah, that's how it went. That's it. That's how it went. Yeah, just invite in millions of new illegals. By the way, Republicans were running ads in South America trying to get the caravans kicking forward, and the Russians were helping them. Just saying.
About the Republicans in the Senate. If it weren't for those votes of those, 14 or so Republicans in the Senate for this funding, a continued funding, extreme funding of Ukraine, this really wouldn't be happening. I mean, it would force the Democrats' hand in the House, who are
yeah, it would totally force the Democrats if 14 of the Republicans didn't side with the Democrats on a bill. Dude, we're not. Do you understand how large that number is, considering the automatic, the Republicans already have a head start in the Senate because they got tiny little fucking states with nobody in them, red states, cowboy fixation, like the South will rise again. You're in North Dakota, motherfucker. You're practically Canada. Shut the fuck up. You're not the South. You're rural. You're not the South. Stop talking with a fucking drawl. You learned it from a country album. This is ridiculous. Your nearest relatives are like Swedes that came to Minnesota and Norwegians. The fuck out of here. So they already have a head start. They've already got these tiny states with 2 senators that don't deserve it, that have got them well ahead. And still, they can't keep their half in line to not vote with the fucking Democrats on something that's just fucking sensible. And the only reason those guys aren't voting for it is because their tiny little states are full of maggots that will threaten their lives.
Kind of free to do whatever they want now.
Right, and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that funding Ukraine is the Republican Party's foremost desire.
That's insane.
It's not
Foreign policy desire.
true.
It's not true at all.
It's not true of American voters in general. It's
Yes, it is.
particularly not true of Republican voters, and it speaks to this problem that we're having, that there's just a general.
What other of all the things we fund as far as foreign aid, get the Republicans in a room. I'm dead serious. Think about what these assholes are saying. Don't forget, like, they think the top priority. We have an idea that a top priority is a priority amongst other priorities. That's how I would view a top priority. We got a top 10 list of our priorities. This is number 1. Number 2 is like the Olympics. It's like this close. It's a 2.6 seconds difference between the priority 2 and priority 1, right? Now, the Republicans, what's their biggest second foreign aid contribution? What do Republicans go, we shouldn't be dumping this amount of money on Ukraine. We should be putting it here in terms of foreign aid. What should that be? What would that be? Israel? Maybe 10 years ago. Not now. Not with Kirk and the gang running the fucking joint. What's after that? What? You think they give shit about Chad? You think they want to send money to Guatemala and other places to help them stabilize so that we don't get washes of immigration in the first place? Get the fuck out of here. And Mexico is not a priority to give any funds to. They just want a wall. That's not the same thing. That's just domestic.
Lack of leadership in the Senate. It's true that they're the minority party, but Democrats, when they're the minority party, are actually able to get quite a bit done.
Schumer?
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like we know what the fuck we're doing. Also, we're not the minority party.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell has been unable to advance the Republican agenda. He's been unable.
Get the fuck out of here. You only have a Republican agenda because of Mitch McConnell. That asshole got you the Supreme Court and he got you the tax cut. Shut the fuck up. Any other situation, you think Trump would have gotten that on his own?
To advance or articulate what that is, and it's causing problems for people in the House as well. The House.
Oh, it is? No. Is it causing problems for them, or the people in the House? They're having a problem. It's sad. That's sad, guys. It's sad.
House is trying to work on a spending bill, and they have gotten no support from the Senate, who just want to spend. There's no difference in what what Mitch McConnell wants to spend and what Chuck Schumer wants to spend
on Ukraine.
That makes it very difficult to do an effective battle.
Molly Hemingway just made a fantastic point, and Charlie, this is something that I think Republicans are going to have to deal with. Right now.
Something that the general consensus in the country is that pittance of money that we're spending on Ukraine compared to the rest of our fucking budget, which is up in the trillion. It's at $2 trillion this year. She's worried about $30 billion worth of funding that is effectively helping Ukraine fight a country with an army 19 times its size, and they're winning. And these assholes don't think, never mind the just cause part of it, the return on investment is huge.
Now, the leadership for the Republicans in the Senate is pretty much working against what the Republican electorate believes on key issues. China, trade with China.
Oh, yeah? What do they believe about trade with
China? On
China?
Immigration, maybe not the border issue specifically, and also, of course, with this never, ever, ever questioning what the Pentagon wants to do. That's a problem.
Okay, piss off. The idea, the nerve of this idiot to actually say, Republicans want to audit the fucking DOD now, or the Pentagon, it's fucking embarrassing. Roll me back to the fucking Patriot Act and Dick Cheney and the all the right-wing radio guys who are getting waterboarded to show it's no big fucking deal. And then this idiot wants to come out and castigate everybody as oh my God, the military spending is out of fucking control. The fuck out of here.
Yeah, and not to mention a huge
Well, then don't mention it.
Swath of Democrat voters who aren't down for this stuff. And if Republicans took a principled stance in Washington on this issue and other issues, not only would they be doing...
Yeah, but then they wouldn't be Republicans. If they took a principled stance on something, they just, they wouldn't be them anymore. So they would lose more voters than they got if they took a principled stance.
Doing the service of their own voters, but they would probably attract a lot of Democrat voters too.
Whoa. Sorry. Okay, I see.
Well, that was Trump's magic approach to all of this. Actually,
yeah, it's what got him reelected. Oh, fuck, right. Well, at least he wasn't beaten by some guy just campaigning in his base. Oh. I don't know how I can...
bring those working class people together for America first, our border, our country first, and before we can...
our blood, our soil. Jews will not replace us. Go for it, Laura.
What is it? Put your mask on first before you try to help others if the plane's going down. Molly and Charlie.
No, your child. And by the way, thanks for on your way out with this clip, just letting us all know how you feel about the voter base of the Republican Party.
Great to see you both. Thanks so much.
Hey, Sean.
So good. So good. Thanks, guys. Oh, so good. Guys. Oh my God, guys. So good.